Hi. I look a hot mess because I just woke up, literally just woke up. And, yeah, let's continue my story, shall we? This is the first time I'm drinking, I'm not sure how coffee will do me. I probably won't be able to sleep tonight, because being in boot camp, you're like, you don't get any of this crap. Coffee is decaf, all the jellies are sugar-free, all the bread is wheat, everything is... Not a fan of the way that tastes, but maybe it'll help me out, because I'm going to go run today. I'm supposed to be on LLD because my spleen is enlarged, but after being in boot camp and working out as much as we did, not moving around is driving me crazy. So I need to go work out, and I'm going to. Because I'm not going to get any better, and I'm not going to get any worse. I'm like at a standstill. I've literally slept all week long trying to recover, and I haven't, so I'm just tired of waiting. Anyhow, let's continue our boot camp stories, shall we? Okay, I left off talking about pdays, I think. Living in Pearl Harbor and having to march over to your new ship where you lived. Is there anything else I could say about pdays? Yes, there are lots of things I could tell you about pdays. So, you get there that night, and you stay awake the whole night getting issued your inventory, like your clothes, like your sweats. You'll wear sweats and tennis shoes the first, week. You're there, you're in tennis shoes and sweats, and then the next week you're in sweats and boots, and breaking in the boots, man. That's a whole other video. Man. So, then you're up the next day doing things like a lot of classroom things and introductory, you sit in the class a lot, and the most challenging thing in those classes are having to stay awake. And people got in trouble for falling asleep all the time. But they do that stuff on purpose. They make you get there late. They make you go through all of this just so that they can put you in a classroom that's hella boring, and they know everyone's going to fall asleep, so they can yell at you. It's all a mind game. Boot camp is easy, and while you're training, you don't think you're being trained until few weeks later you realize you're being trained. It's the psychological makeup of it's awesome, I think, because they have you doing things that are for the better of yourself, and so you're thinking you take financial classes, and you go to the dentist, you get your teeth fixed, and females have female wellness where you get your female checkup, and you just go through a lot of classes that kind of update you on life and help you to be an adult, because there are so many young kids there. And while you're in all of these classes and stuff, it gets easier after pdays. It really does, because you're taking these classes and you feel like it's not that big of a deal. The hardest thing is staying awake. And you don't feel like people are beating down into you, but from taps to reveille, you're sleeping, and the rest of the time, as mundane as it is, you're being trained. And you may not realize it, but you are. I remember, week 4 or something, I said something, and in myself, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm being conformed, because without thinking, it was just a habit. And you kind of have to set yourself outside of the situation to realize it's happening to you. And it's really neat, I think. And people will bash boot camp and the military till no end, talking about how it's petty. They care about the stupidest little things. You are government property now. You are being trained like a robot, and blah, blah, blah. Well, think about it. You kind of have to be, especially all of these people coming from homes and backgrounds that they had. They won't make the best sailors or soldiers if they stick with those old habits. So like, if you don't understand why it's happening, it can be frustrating. If you try to understand why it's happening, it can be frustrating. If you just live it and let it go, with like a lot of people did, it's easier to swallow. But if you're like me and you try to analyze the reason why they're having you do every stupid little tiny thing, and you understand it, it's amazing, because there's a purpose for all of it. Like when I was talking about standing in line and saying your social security number, single digits only, and they tell you not to put your hands on your face all the time, and they tell you how to walk, how to talk, how to breathe. And being in it, looking at it, there's reasons for it. And I have complete and utter respect for the pettiness and the nitpicking that they had, because it all had a reason. There was all a reason, and I don't want to break it down psychologically because I don't want to mess it up for anyone that's going in. I don't know if I can talk about whatever. But just in a general sense, just know that the stupid little things they have you do that you're like, what the hell, man? There's reasons, and they're good. It makes for a good sailor, in my opinion. So then they have this thing the next day. My dad keeps texting me. I've been texting my dad all morning because it's Father's Day. Then they have this thing in the morning. No, the next day. I think it was the next day. It's all such a fog. Called Moment of Truth. And I don't even know if I could talk all that much about it. But basically, you're not supposed to lie about anything medical when you're going in. Your recruiters should know everything about you. And when you process through MEPS, they should know everything about you. But if for any reason you were stupid enough to withhold any kind of information, the moment of truth is your moment to confess whatever you've been hiding. But if you do confess something, chances are you're being yanked out of that room and you're never coming back. And you're getting kicked out. Because there was like 10, 15 people that raised their hand at the moment of truth. They were like, because they scare you. They scare the shit out of you into telling you. Like, people are confessing shit they didn't even do because they push into you so much, like, I know some of you are lying about something. So I'm sitting around looking around like all of these idiots. Some are raising their hands, and I'm just like, you guys are so stupid. You know you're getting kicked out of the Navy right now. And they took them out of the room and left, and they never came back. So they did that, and they do shots. They line you up for shots. A lot of people were afraid of the shots, but it's no big deal. A lot of people that had phobias of needles, which I think is bullshit. They're just a bunch of pussies, excuse my language. But the second time around when we had all those shots, inoculations and stuff, they didn't freak out nearly as much because they know it's no big deal. What you do is you're sitting there with rows and rows of people, and you roll up your sleeves like this. As you're sitting there waiting, you sit down in alphabetical order, and you're like this. Both your arms, and you sit there like this. Sometimes an hour, sometimes I don't know how long, and you're like this, and you sit there. And then they call the line up, and they call the next line up, and then you call the next line up, and you walk through, and then there's persons on the side of you taking alcohol pads like this, cleaning off the area, and then you take a step forward. You get a little sticker, put it right here, and it says, this is a part of what makes some people feel like they're not human and that they're just robots being processed. Well, shit, how else are they going to do it, really? Like, stop taking shit so personally. You think they're going to have a one-on-one sit-down doctor conversation with you and ask you what kind of shots and this and that? No, they have to put you through their, like, mass herds of cows that are about to be slaughtered, because there's no way that they could process as many recruits as they do yearly. So stop taking shit so seriously and looking at it like you are government property, really, and it's, like, it's efficient and it's quick, and if you just accept it, it's not that big of a deal. Like, some people were freaking out that we were being, like, herded, pushed through there, but who gives a fuck? That's what they have to do. And they put a sticker on some people had special needs, like allergies, and some people had different shots and whatever. So they put a sticker on your chest, and then you walk.